In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where we really see a lot of ups and downs with the temperatures. That's kind of the theme here for me. And I mentioned this a lot during last spring, but that causes instability and overall a lot more chances at thunderstorms and overall precipitation. So we're going to be watching this model run kind of for that flip-flop pattern that should lead towards a lot of instability, a lot of contrast, and overall more activity than what is typical for this time of year. So we're looking at Tuesday. Tomorrow's the time I'm making this video, and we see a lot of storms up here for the upper Midwest and Great Lakes in particular. So we're seeing kind of like the Dakotas, Missouri area, and then near the Great Lakes and even down through some of the Ohio Valley. We're also seeing some thunderstorms along the Gulf and Southeast coast, which is very, very typical for this time of year. And also just overall for the warmth and humidity that we're seeing, that should lead towards just chances at thunderstorms almost every single day. Very small and isolated ones, but still thunderstorms nevertheless. By Wednesday here on June 26th, 2 days from now, we start to see an area of potential severe weather moving southward. So this is what we were talking about a lot yesterday, is kind of these storms moving in from Canada with a lot of this colder air. So again, those cold fronts, we do see a weaker low here, 1003, with kind of like a stretching weaker cold front. That doesn't mean that it's weak impacts, but just the weak contrast between the air masses. And it's not really progressing too rapidly, but we are seeing a lot of thunderstorm activity in here, primarily for some of the Midwest, some of the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, and then some of the Mid-Atlantic here as well for Wednesday on the 26th. As we move on towards Thursday the 27th, we see things die down a little bit, but we do see an expanded area of potential isolated and scattered thunderstorms from the southeast up kind of through the mid-Atlantic and into even the northeast here. We do see some areas of thunderstorms impacting areas of the northwest, down through some of the four corner states and through the plains here. So we're seeing a lot of states like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, down through the Dakotas, even Nebraska and Kansas here. Mostly showers, I would say, here on the western end of things. We do have a stronger low here in Wyoming. And then the best chance for thunderstorms here is going to be over those northern plains like Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota here, where we are seeing some potential severe weather firing up. This is an example of when we're in a trough in the east here by later this week on Thursday. So we do see this kind of instability as a result of this, as this warm air is trying to combat the cold air, obviously, as we are in the summertime. If you haven't noticed, it's like 100 outside, but we are seeing a lot of humidity and warmth push in from these coastlines and from the south, and we're seeing a lot of cold and dry air trying to meet it and push down from Canada. This is stirring up a lot of activity in these areas. Let's take a look at Friday here on June 28th, and what we see is, again, 997 here over northern Minnesota, a 998 over Kansas, and this leads towards a lot of potential severe weather out ahead of these two lows, and then also some showers back behind them. And then again, still the Gulf and Southeast coast are seeing those isolated and scattered thunderstorms still. By Saturday here on June 29th, we see 1003 here over eastern Canada, dragging cold front behind it, a warm front up here. So we are seeing, again, a return of this warm air for the East Coast. Again, very, very flip-floppy with the pattern here. But we are seeing this cold and dry air really move in from the west and kind of like the northwest here and hitting it from the side. And this is really going to cause, again, a chance of not only thunderstorms, but potential severe weather here along that frontal boundary for Saturday on the 29th. Sunday here on the 30th, we see this reach kind of towards the East Coast. We can see and the Gulf Coast. So somewhere like this is the area to watch by this point, as we see another cooler and drier air mass fully moved in by this point. We do see, again, some pretty showery activity out west. And let's take this towards Monday, the 1st of July here. We still see some thunderstorm activity along this southeast corridor. We get another low here for South Dakota, 998. No cold front yet, but we have this rising warmth and humidity leading towards a lot of thunderstorms here around the north central states and also for south central Canada out ahead of the low. As we reach towards Tuesday, though, we do see that this low moves up into Canada as a 989. Has a little bit of a frontal boundary here. Could feature some severe weather with a little weaker dragging cold front. Nothing too intense by that point, but by the time we reach Wednesday, looking a little bit more elevated here as we see it drag across the northeast and Ohio Valley. We start to get bigger pockets at potential severe weather and just overall pretty widespread thunderstorm activity in there as well. For finally Thursday on the 4th, we see all that activity moves offshore. We do get a low trying to form over Kansas, potentially a warm front here out ahead of things, and we get some thunderstorms and showers building in along that. Now, the total precipitation really shows the full story. I mean, we see a lot of lows working their way in through kind of like your north central states, in through the south central and southeastern regions of Canada. We're seeing a lot of precipitation in these areas, not only around the low, but with these dragging cold fronts underneath. I talked about this yesterday. If you might look familiar because I drew the same thing yesterday. And then just along these kind of southeast and Gulf Coast areas, we are seeing some pretty heavy amounts of precipitation here as a result of just the climate typical thunderstorms that we see this time of year. Now, for your air temperature, again, your temperature pattern, we talked about earlier how we see this kind of warm, cool, warm, cool, warm, cool pattern. So let's see it warm up now, obviously, is what we're in. And that sticks around through kind of midweek for the east. We see that sometime between Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday, we are going to be seeing that next shot of cooler air trying to move in. And cooler is not super cold this time of year. Keep in mind that it's still very hot, just not boiling like it has been. So lower 80s, upper 70s type stuff. Thursday into Friday here, we see that the cold air is around, but look at Saturday. We already see this warmth try to rebound in the east. So again, we've gone from warm to cold now, back to warm. So warm, cold, warm within a 7-day period. And we already see that next cool down moving in from the west. So it's a very, very rapidly revolving pattern. Now we see the cool down moves in by the time we reach Monday on the 1st, 1 week from today. So between now and a week from today, we see a cool, we're in a warm up, we see a cool down. So that's warm, cold, warm, cold. So basically 4 flips there. And then by Tuesday, Wednesday, look at this, warming back up in the east. So about nearly 10 days from now, we've now seen warm, cold, warm, cold, warm. Let's see if we get another cool down before the model run is all said and done. We do right there a brief one, so I'm not even going to go through it. I'm probably getting annoying now, but multiple flips as you can see, and then back to warm again. So that's like 6 flips, I think, of the temperature pattern. That is going to lead towards just overall better chances of seeing these thunderstorm events in the east, as we mentioned earlier. So let's dive into the Storm Prediction Center outlook. This is for the rest of today. Today's video is coming out a little bit later, but we do see general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those around, which is a whole lot, by the way. We do have 2 marginal risk areas in the darker greens where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. We have 2 slight risk areas in the yellows, which is where we expect scattered about severe weather to occur. And then in the upper Midwest, we do see a level 3 enhanced risk where we expect a little bit more widespread severe weather to be possible there. Let's move towards day 2, which will be tomorrow from the time I am making this video on Tuesday, June 25th. And we do see that general thunderstorm risk area again, the level 1 marginal risk area again, and then your level 2 slight risk area once more in the yellow region. For day 3, we see that all kind of moves eastward as that stretching cold front moves through, kind of mid to late week, as we mentioned earlier. We do have the general thunderstorm risk area again, 2 marginal risk areas, and then another slight risk region. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.